So I continue telling you about these basic principles being violated, all kind of phenomena based on it. Now I discuss something called context effects. The name is, as it is used in this field, is a bit unfortunate because context is too broad and general a term, and in psychological literature it's used in many other senses than is meant here. But what is meant here in this field is that the value of a prospect can depend on, well, the assessment of the value of a prospect can depend on the other prospects that are available for choice. So the choice options that are competing with the one being evaluated. Now, it can be seen that that means that transitivity or axioms of real preference are violated. So again, very basic things, but let us look into examples. Well, here's the influential paper that was one of the first to write clearly about it. One example is they chose subjects in an experiment, had to choose between two choice options, two prospects, and I immediately add the choice percentages. There was an elegant pen or there was $6 cash money. And you see about 2/3 preferred the money amount to the pen. Another group of subjects got the same two choice options to choose from, but a third choice option prospect was added. That was a pen that is not so nice. Let me call it silly pen. Then they see what happened. Now you can imagine by any rationality standard for Homo economicus and all these usual natural axiom of revealed preference, what would happen, normally speaking, is there will be very few people who may like that silly pen because there's a better pen available. And then that means a very small percentage of this will move to the silly pen, a very small percentage of that will move to the silly pen, and nothing else. So not much changes, and these two percentages are both decreased a little bit. That's the only thing happening. That's what you expect under normal circumstances. But of course, you can imagine, I wouldn't present it to you then, that the paradox is coming, and indeed it is. So what happened for the real Homo sapiens, the real human beings? What you find is almost nobody takes the silly pen. That makes sense. A better pen is available. But strangely enough, if you look at the percentage of people choosing the elegant pen, I told you a moment ago it should decrease a little bit. Did not happen. It increased considerably. Like, let me do red now. It used to be 36, and now it's 46%. And then, of course, the cash money quite decreased this percentage. But this is a weird thing. This is not really rational. There must be quite some people who, in the choice between two, go for the money amount. But then if we add a stupid pen, suddenly they move to the nice pen. That is strange because the nice pen didn't, it's just what it was. It didn't get better. So why would you prefer it more if there's a stupid, irrelevant pen lying next to it? Rationally speaking, that doesn't make sense, but it's happening because of all kind of, well, the phenomenon is that this stupid pen makes the elegant pen stand out more. That's why people notice it more and they just go by such perceptions. But I'm making here a bit of a ceteris paribus condition on information not changing relevant, but let's not get into such details. Anyway, it is a weird finding. So such findings means that, I said already, I'm not going to explain very much, but it means that transitively weak expert field preference, very basic things are violated. And this effect that you can make people choose an option more by adding something just inferior to it that in fact should be irrelevant, but simply makes that thing stand out more. That is called attraction effect, asymmetric dominance effect, or decoy effect. So all kind of terms are used in the literature. And this is often used in marketing, also in real life. If some company, grocery store, whatever, they want you to buy their product rather than another product, they add a third product that is inferior to their own product, but not so easy comparable to the other product. And you will automatically go for this product now standing out more. That way you are manipulated in many places. And if you buy a car or everywhere, so then you can get manipulated by many effects of this kind. And maybe if you want to be on the good side of manipulation, then you study your homework very well, and then you can use it yourself in all kind of, maybe if you have a meeting with colleagues about something to do in the future and you want your colleagues to manipulate them to go in a particular direction. These kind of techniques can be useful for, for good or bad purposes. But a lot of that, here's an illustration of the decoy effect. Imagine you have two-dimensional objects. Maybe these are commodity bundles, number of apples, number of pears. So positive attributes they are. And imagine that if you can choose between X and Y, those two commodity bundles, then you choose Y, a particular percentage of subjects chooses Y. Now we add a Z that is not so easy to compare to X, but it's just inferior to Y. And surprise, surprise, after that, Y is chosen much more. So that's this decoy effect that I already explained. And again, it's weird because, you know, if you look at the situation here, what must be happening that people who choose X here, if you add Z, quite small, those people then move to Y. But adding Z didn't change the value of Y in any respect. So why did people do that? It's just this psychological effect. Another effect, quite in the same level of rationality, although a bit different from a different thing, but in the same spirit, is the compromise effect. Imagine again, maybe commodity bundle, apple, pears, whatever, two attributes, two criteria. And imagine that in this situation, choosing between two, particular group of people chooses Y. Now we add a Z of this kind, and then you already expect it must be paradoxical. So what happens is, by adding Z, more people choose Y. That is the compromise effect. That is that people quite like always to choose in the middle. The truth is in the middle, or to combine the best of both worlds, you know, the reasonings like that. People are always much inclined to go for the middle everywhere. That's why we're adding Z, makes Y stand out more, people go more for it. And again, it's irrational because people before Z was there, they choose X or Z, then they go to Y, but Y didn't get better. Well, same story as you heard before. But sometimes people try to manipulate in situations, and there have been situations where that led to unintended, unexpected consequences that may have been quite serious. Example is coming. It's in the New York Times was written, insiders, you never know rumors, but this was said to have happened with ex-President Trump. Now you can read the story, I will not read it. You can read it, you pause the video, read it, and then you start the video again. So you can stop the video now. Okay, I assume you're back now, you read the story, and you see that here they try to manipulate Donald Trump, but it had unintended consequences, maybe not so good, you know, not a human life was lost, but more risk for war in the world, quite horrible things, but such is life. There are many other violations of elementary conditions. For instance, the famous regret theory is a theory, I do not treat it in this course, but it's a theory, it's quite famous. It is violating transitivity. So it is also at the same level of effects as we just saw. And that is, psychology is realistic, this is happening, but economic theory is not easy to make with such models. So therefore, I don't treat it in this course. Regret theory is not very useful for economics, but it's surely useful for many other purposes and to learn from. So even the most basic actions are violated, and life is really, you know, mostly the preference reversals when they were discovered, then people became more open for all kind of things of this kind. Really basic things are going on. And especially marketing is specialized in knowing these things and utilizing these things. Well, we go to the next effect, but that will be in the next recording.